Well, hello there, mamas. My name is Mama Mudhoni or Rangesh Mandere Kihara. I'm a certified lactation counselor as well as a certified child nutrition practitioner. I am also a new parent educator. That means I can support you and your family from the time you're pregnant all the way to the time your baby is a teen. I run the Mothership Village where we have different professionals who can support you in different areas like speech therapy, occupational therapy, etc. etc. Today we're talking about my son's surgery. He had a tonsillectomy and an adenectomy. I hope I pronounced that right. Early last month in October. So I'll give you guys a brief of how it all started with the issues and etc. I have some notes here just in case I refer. It's okay because I just need to remember all the facts. So my son was born in 2019. And most of that here, one of the pediatricians I see, Dr. Wafula, kept mentioning to me that it seems like your son is a mouth breather. And I was not seeing it, but he kept mentioning, like, you need to pay attention and let me know if your son is a mouth breather, because he kept, like, I don't know, there's something that he could see, but I didn't see it. Anyway, in 2020, yeah, so last year around October, my household got COVID. And after the COVID, I started noticing that actually my son, his breathing was not the way it was before. So I would hear him panting, like hemming. Every time you're sitting next to him, you can hear him, you know. And so I went to a pediatrician, and then he was like, yeah, he's actually a mouth breather. Let's observe. Usually, we don't like to do surgery when the babies are small, and etc. etc. But it wasn't getting any better. Like each time was he got like a cold. Actually, got a lot worse early this year. This is not 2021. In January, when Modoni went to school, and the whole of January to April, my kids were basically sick with colds. Yani, homa after homa after homa. And each time he got a cold, he now started waking up at night because of sleep apnea. He slept through the night from maybe the time he was like 9 months, through the night as in 12 hours. Before that, he was doing like maybe 10 hours. Anyway, um, so now his sleep apnea started getting worse. His panting, hemming became even worse. Like it could be louder. There's no time I remember at that time early in the year not hearing my son breathing. You know, and breathing is generally a silent thing, but I'd always hear him. So we went to hospital. We went back to Afula. And Afula was like, no, this boy actually needs surgery. I'll refer you to an ENT. And when we went, one of my friends told me, by then Dr. Afulo will tell you not to go for surgery. He doesn't like babies going for surgery. But he listened to him. I think we had done a chest x-ray, and he was like, no, this one is not affecting his organs. So we went to an ENT. I don't remember the name. I don't remember his name. And we even went to hospital for admission. And then our insurance, I don't know if you guys remember my long rant, our insurance refused. Turns out it was an issue with our agent, who was a new agent. But yeah, the insurance refused to pay, so we didn't do it. Then that same time, a lot of people suggested that I go to Dr. Waris. Dr. Adil Waris is at Aga Khan. He's a pulmonologist, I hope I pronounced that right, and an allergy expert. So we went to him, and then he was like, you know what, just give me 1 month. If your son doesn't improve in that 1 month, go ahead and go for surgery. So in that 1 month, he gave us some medication. Oh, before the time for surgery, we had gone to like 3 or 4 different ENTs. We had been given a lot of medication to try and improve his breathing. You know, of course, they don't like doing surgery on small kids, and they don't like removing the adenoids, I think, before the baby is like 3 years old because they grow back. Anyway, so now by the time we went to Adil, he asked us now which medications we had been given. We had been given, let me not mention the medication, we've been given nasal sprays, some with steroids, some without steroids. We've been given like another powder for coughs and clear. Anyway, we've been given a lot of medication. Anyway, so he put us on medication for 2 weeks. Then after the 2 weeks, he told us to go back for an allergy test. So we went back for an allergy test, and in the allergy test, it turns out that my son was allergic to dust mites and dairy. So at that point, he told us that we need to completely wash all our carpets and preferably remove them. We need to clean our mattresses. We need to thoroughly clean our house, and we need to really make sure that like things like mattresses, seats, duvets, etc. are really cleaned and cleaned properly. So that's what we did. I got a cleaner. They came and did a thorough job on the house itself. We got someone to clean all the mattresses, to clean the couch. For the couch, we used they called one drop one. I'll try and remember. Anyway, I'll put a contact here. The mattresses as well, they wash. And then for the duvets, we sent them to a place called Bubbles. Yeah, Bubbles Laundry. They're on Instagram. I'll also put their contacts here. Yeah, and now after that, we cut off all dairy completely, like no dairy. No butter, no cheese, no nothing to do with dairy at all, and we cut off. And let me tell you guys, within a week or two, my son had stopped mouth. Like I couldn't hear him breathe. He had stopped panting. So now, like you'd be sitting next to him and you don't even know that he's there, because before he'd announced his arrival with anyway. So that worked out for us. That was March. Yeah, so April, May, June, July, my son's health was okay. When he got a cold, it got a bit worse, but it was still okay. Like he wasn't panting. Now, come September, early September, I think my kids had COVID, by the way, like in hindsight, because the way Modoni behaved in September was exactly the same way she behaved when we had the first round of COVID last year in October. And from that time in September, my son's breathing became really bad. Oh, so another thing that Dr. Waris explained to us is that COVID causes leaky gut syndromes, which basically means that whatever is in your gut leaks into the bloodstream, and that is likely why after COVID, his allergy for dairy became a lot worse, or rather the symptoms were exacerbated, and that's why now he started mouth breathing and really hemming. Not mouth breathing, really hemming. Hemming is panting, for those who haven't caught on yet. Anyway, so come September, my son, they get sick. Both of them got really sick. Like Modoni was basically in bed for 5 days or 4 days. After that, PC as well got unwell. He was not as unwell as Modoni, but now again he started panting. Remember, even the 4 or 5 months that we had of peace, each time he got a cold, he would pant. So after that incident, which I think was COVID, but that was not confirmed, they got another cold, like a bad cold. And that was like towards the end of September. And this one never went away. Like PC's breathing became so bad. His waking up became so much. And like you could hear him breathing like the way our house is. There's his bedroom, and then you walk through the hallway, there's my bedroom, and then there's my bathroom. Sometimes I could even hear him from the bathroom or even from downstairs. So of course I started worrying again. We went to hospital, we were given medication, but it wasn't getting any better. Anyway, so one night, it was a Sunday evening, we went to hospital. At the hospital, we found a GP. He did the measurements. His oxygen was a bit low, I think early 90s. And at some point, it would even drop to like 87, 86. So the doctor had said we would get admitted. But when he spoke to the pediatrician, because now he's a GP, the pediatrician said we go home, whichever hospital that was. Anyway, we came home. I could barely sleep. I put him in his room. I tried to sleep. In the morning, I was woken up by his breathing through the monitor. Like it was so bad. So I think I sent his pediatrician. I don't even remember. Then he told us, do this, go to Gertrude's. You likely get admitted because this was not Dr. Afula, but because of his oxygen level. So we went to Gertrude's. Okay, the processes there of admission and casualty were really hard. And that is PC. Please give me some time, Daddy. So, Dr. Afula recommended that we go to Gertrude. That was now Monday morning. Remember, Sunday night we went to hospital. Okay, that's just my son telling me he's done it. Good job, Daddy. So, we went to Gertrude's. At Gertrude's, he was tested. Did we see a GP? I don't remember. Then we went to see a pediatrician. And the pediatrician was like, oh, this baby is really, really, really unwell. We need to admit him. But now from there, okay, the process from that time to the time we were actually admitted was just, it took forever. It even took forever for them to give him medication. It was really annoying because, so how is it that as a pediatrician, you tell us that the baby is really sick, but 4 or 5 hours later, this child has not even been given any medication, even to just help with his breathing. Then now this story of admission, oh, we don't have beds, etc, etc. Anyway, at the end of it all, we were admitted at Gertrude's. And from there, by then things really changed. Gertrude was such, like the admission side, the ward side was really, really fantastic. I would absolutely, completely recommend them. The food was good, and they'd actually bring what you'd like to eat in your hotel. All that later. Anyway, so we got admitted. They started giving him medication. Then now they needed to call an ENT now, who I think came now, that was Monday. I think the ENT came on Tuesday, so we were admitted Monday night. So from now, that Monday night, it was giving medication. He was put on very strong antibiotics and painkillers and things to help him with the breathing. ENT came, he did an x-ray, a new x-ray. So the x-ray we had done earlier in the year showed that the blockage was not too much. But now the x-ray we did that day showed that his adenoids had 100% or fully blocked, and that's why his breathing was so bad. Like you'd sit here with him and imagine the boy would start breathing. As in, mchana mmeketi tu. As in, you just seated with him and he stops breathing for like 10, 15 seconds. It was so scary. At night, I'm sleeping, the boy stops breathing 20 seconds. So it was a bit scary. But actually the thing that I think stood out for me the most was how stressed, as in I wasn't stressed. For some reason, I had this peace. That thing that the Bible says, peace that surpasses all human understanding? I had that. Like, I was not stressed. We were in hospital for a week. And somehow, my demeanor, as in, I can't, it's not something that you can explain. They say it surpasses all human understanding. Even me myself, I don't understand it. But God gave me such peace and grace through that period. As in, yeah. I keep telling you guys, Jesus and therapy, Jesus and therapy. And yeah. Anyway, so now ENT comes, tells us we need to go for surgery because it's now 100% blockage and the baby can't breathe. And of course, it's going to start affecting his heart and his lungs and etc. So now we have to wait for the infection to go away so that we can do surgery. This was on Tuesday. And the doctor was saying the earliest we'll likely do surgery is Sunday or Monday. Of course, staying in hospital, you're feeling like, oh my God, what is this life? But yeah, so it said Tuesday, Wednesday, like that. I think by Friday-ish, his breathing had become easier or better, and his apnea, like the thing of him struggling to breathe, was not as bad. So Friday came, doctor came, we used Dr. Mbira. Dr. Mbira, is it Kikonyo? I think Mbira Kikonyo is his name. He's the one we used. And he was really fantastic. And Mbira Kikonyo. The pediatrician, I think, was Kaburu. Yeah, Dr. Kaburu was the pediatrician also. He was very good. The staff, the nurses, everyone at Gertrude was really fun. But then the ward, what's the word I'm looking for? The service and the care given at the ward level, you cannot even compare with what we got at the casualty level. Like, I would completely recommend it. And then they have a playground that is outside. They have a playground that is inside that has caregivers. The babies can color and paint and all these things. It was really a really good time. And food, what I was talking about, the food is, like, PC really loved the fish. I also really love the fish. Like, I could go back there for the fish. So they bring us the fish more often because that's what he liked to eat. That's what he ate, that is. Anyway, so we went for surgery. Let me see if there's anything else that I've forgotten. We went for surgery. We went on a Sunday morning, I think at like 4 a.m., if I remember well. Now, that was heart-wrenching. Like giving your baby away to somebody else, like you have zero control. It's just God and those doctors. You have zero control. You can't watch, you can't sit. I prayed when we woke up, I prayed for him in the morning. I prayed that God gives him peace and grace. And then we went to the, okay, my son is back. When we got to the theater, I was so scared like he'd throw a fit because my son loves me a lot. Like, he's very attached to me. It's something I'm very proud of because my daughter didn't have that with me at this age. Now she does. But I was scared that when I hand him over, he would cry, and that would be really, really, really difficult for both of us. But imagine, I just introduced him. I asked the guy the name, the theater guy. So I told him, this is so and so. He's going to take care of you. And that was it. He went. And I left, and my heart, oh my God, my heart. Anyway, I went back to the room. Of course, I couldn't sleep. They told me the baby will be back in an hour. An hour came. He wasn't there. Oh, by this time now my husband had come. An hour passed, he wasn't there. And I was like, you know what, let me give them another 30 minutes or 1 hour before I start to worry. Anyway, within about 40 minutes after that, they came, we got him. When we went to the room, he said he was thirsty. We gave him something to drink, gave him something to eat. I think it was juice and some breakfast. He ate, he was very okay. Then he slept. When he slept, sorry. So when he slept, when he woke up, now things changed completely. The boy started just crying and crying and crying and crying. And what did I do? That's my son being taken away. What did I do? I cried. I really cried. It was really hard. Like, he'd wake up crying and chewing, like his mouth was hurting. At first, I told him to take a sip of water. He would agree the first time, but after that, it became so difficult. He didn't want anything. Hospital, we don't have they didn't have non-dairy ice cream, so now trying to get him to take cold juice, cold water, like my son could not eat anything. And then the doctor is telling you, this boy needs to be able to eat a bit so that you'll be able to go home. So was it the next day or the day after? I don't even remember. Now it's trying to convince him, please take something, please take some water, please take, but he would not take. And that was really difficult for me and for us, even for him, because you'd see he's hungry, he'd ask you for something, immediately it gets into his mouth, he's like, no, I don't want it. Then there was the part of, I'm hungry, I want to eat, but I feel guilty because how am I going to eat and my child is not eating? You get? But yeah, at some point I had to eat because yeah, now my tummy started hurting. That was day one, day two. We came home. Eventually, we came home. His fevers were fine. He was given medication. We came home. I had this thing of fear of leaving him alone. So one of the nannies would sleep with him every night. We gave him medication, painkillers, 24 hours. We'd wake him at 10, wake him at like 2 or 3, etc. etc. The doctor had warned us it's very easy for him to wake up screaming. He didn't do that, but the day we ran out of one of the medications, the middle of the night one, okay, my babe, he just wants to come to me. Anyway, so the night that we ran out of one of the middle of the night ones, I was like, let's just try, let's see what happens. Where? Tears at 3 a.m. Hey, and I think that was like already over 5 days. He cried. So now we had to give him it's the stronger medication that had issued. So we gave him, and then you hold him to sleep, and then you put him down. And then again, after sleeping like 3-4 hours, again he woke up. But anyway, it went getting better. Another thing was bad breath. Like his breath was really bad, and there's nothing you could do about it because it's an open wound inside that is wet. Yeah. So that also took a while. His voice also was funny, like it was higher pitched. That also took a while, maybe 2-3 weeks, or even longer. It took quite a long time for it to get better. His eating, first week was really bad. Second week, now we even resorted to giving him the tab. My house, there's no eating with TV, there's no eating with tab. But now, mtoto akuli. So now the things that, the rules that you have, for me, you don't walk around with a baby to eat, you don't go outside to make him eat. No, those are the things we resorted to. Now we take him outside, we put him on the high chair, put the tab there, and then he'd eat a few spoons. Most times we blended his food, like we'd make mtori. That's a favorite in my home. Mtori is basically matoke, waru, a bit of nyama blended together. It's fantastic. It's very tasty. I think I'll put a recipe in my meal plan that's coming out next week. Anywho, next week, November 25th. Anyway, so that kept getting better. But now once in a while he wants to eat. You see, he wants to eat like whole foods. You give him, he cries. So now you go back to blended food. He doesn't want to. Basically, don't blend for me. You give him the other food he tastes. It's a bit too rough on his throat. So anyway, the bad eating went on for maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And I think one of the things that really gave me hope is one of my followers on my DM told me that she's in her 20s and she had just had the surgery and it was the worst thing she had ever done in her life. That the pain was unimaginable. She couldn't eat, she couldn't swallow. So I think hearing it from an adult point of view made me relax a lot more and understand that it's just a short phase and it will pass. Anyway, in about 2 weeks, we had to go back to the hospital for review. He'd lost a kilo. So the doctor said that I'm at 800 grams. And the doctor said, that's very okay. People lose up to 2 kilos because of the not eating. But yeah, since that was mid-October, now we are end November. He's eating everything. In fact, I think by the end of October, he was even eating crisps, which the doctor was scared of. But he took it himself and he ate. And now he's back to eating. Last week, which was maybe 6 weeks down the line, he had already gained 2 kgs. Because we had started the year, I think, at around 13 kilos or 14 kilos. And then he lost to 12. And then now, after the surgery, he was at 11. So the last thing that we did, he was at 13 kilos, which was home testing 2 weeks ago, which is 6 weeks from the time of surgery, which is really fantastic, him adding back his weight. He's eating everything, he's breathing. I cannot hear my child breathe, and that is like heaven on earth for me. The only thing now we are struggling with is that he's still mouth breathing because it's what he knows, so you'll still catch him like, because that's what he's used to, having his mouth open. But when you tell him, funga mdomo, close your mouth, he'll close his mouth, and he'll breathe through his nose very well, unless if he's sick. Yeah, that's it. Imagine. Basically, I think if you're going for this surgery, what I'd like to tell you is, it's hard. The time after surgery is so hard. You will regret it. You will ask yourself why you did it. You will see your child and wonder, guy, did I have to? But it gets better. In 3 days, he'll swallow more. in 5 days, in 10 days, a day at a time. Do what you need to do to survive, especially the first 2 weeks. My son no longer uses the tub to eat. He no longer goes out walking around to be able to just eat some fruit. I have started giving him yogurt once in a while, like maybe once a week. I'm not seeing anything with his mucus and stuff, but that doesn't mean that his allergy has gone away. It just means that the breathing has become better. Yeah, so just take heart and it'll pass. In case you have any questions, you can ask down below. Not medical questions. I'm not a medic. I can only answer questions based on my experience as a mom of a child who had the surgery. I hope this helped you. Remember to share, like, subscribe, and remember, you're doing great, Mama. See you next time.